it is at this point here that the first clip starts and the second clip ends. So you can actually crop these files. And the great thing about Adobe After Effects is that even though you're sort of cropping it, you're still keeping the original file there. So even though you won't see the stuff that starts at the beginning, you have ample. You can always extend it back out to get it. So you can also do that in Sony Vegas, but it's more visual here. So I have this one clip going. I'm going to have this other clip overlapping, so both of it happens at the same time, kind of like that. And then just to make this, and to reverse the animation of this going down from feet to head and head to feet, you mess around with the time constraints. And so yes, I am jumping around a whole lot of places, but this is how my brain works. So if you click on the file like so, you go to time, and there are various things that you can alter. So time remapping is kind of like the velocity changing in Sony Vegas, in which you make crazy maps in which it slows down and all that. Time reverse layer is what we're going to be doing. We're going to reverse the time, make it backwards. Otherwise you could freeze, you can do time stretch, and this is actually how you speed up or you slow down your clip. So this clip is actually a bit too long, so I actually wanted to speed it up. So you go 150, and that actually slows it down. So at 100, it's at 6 seconds. At 150, it's 9 seconds, so it increases it by 50%. And so I want 75%, 4 seconds, fantastic. And so now it's a bit shorter. And once again, I'm going to go time, then I'm going to do time reverse layer. And it's now backwards, so from head up to toes, and then this guy coming from the side, like so. Now that's pretty much what I did. What I added was I made it just so that it's not as, I made a kind of a blurry edge to it, so it's actually a mask. So if you grab your rectangle tool up here, or your pen tool, you can actually create a mask. What that does is it selectively chooses what you want to see. So I'm just going to choose this much I want to see. But that looks crap because it's really sharp, and that ruins the effect. What I want is I want the feathered effect. So if you get your mask, the mask effect comes up on your layer, which you can also bring up by pressing M. And then if you extend the mask out again, you can actually see all these variables. I'm just going to increase the feather by a lot, like so. And so, I think I just created another mask there. No. Okay, feather, okay, a lot of feather, like that. Now, and see, now you see that it's actually blurring out at the edge, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, that's that. Same would apply with this, and that's great. That's the first part. And one tip on how to get all your, so once you start altering, opacity or the scale or the mask, you got all these variables come up, and you could choose that. You can open them all up by clicking on the triangle like here, or you could just press U twice. So if you press, I think the Gamestah logo I altered a few times. So if you press U, it opens up opacity and the scale, two variables which I changed. So got that. And then pretty much for the rest of the movie, all I did was I just kept on building on. So I added this Gamestah logo on top, right here. So it just goes across like that. And if we just select the Gamestah, how I did the swiping effect manually was that I just made a mask, and so whatever is, only what is inside the rhombus will be actually seen. And so you just I made an animation of the mask moving across, and so with some feathered effect, it actually shows the Gamestah logo coming across, and then it moves back, like so. Yeah, it moves away. And the way you do that is that you can actually move your mask around, or you can actually move. How you move images around is simply you can use this normal arrow. You can move it around like that. So this may contain is not exactly centered, nor this coarse language. But if you're not happy, if you want to be a bit more pedantic, the way to move it around is to change the position. And so position is P. And then you can move it around on the y-axis, x-axis, etc., etc. Completely said that opposite to what I actually did, but who cares? And so in this case, if you open up the layer, I have the mask, and I actually changed the position of the mask through my mask path, and I animated it moving along like so. It stays there, and you can see these keyframes. It's where the animation starts, then moving away, and that's how I did that. So once all that happens, I started with the next clip, and what that simply is the next metal image appearing on top of it. So I have my next metal image, like so, rescale it. I don't want to see it until around 12 seconds, so T for opacity, put it down to 0, keyframe it right there, and it stays at 0. And then it's after this medic appears that I want it to start appearing. So from 11 seconds to 12 seconds, I have it increased to 100% opacity, and so it's got a nice, easy effect coming up like that. And so that's what happens here. The lighter metal texture slowly appears. The Oz Gamers logo, same path mask thing that I did, moves in. You got the blue medic animations moving in, 2 layers like I did with the red, just repeating exactly what I did. I got this really dodgy mask, triangle, high feathered, just what I thought looked cool if he was moving on a diagonal line. I had the medic more overlaid this time to actually run across him as he flies across. Bit of a mask. Right, actually I didn't apply a mask at all. I just actually he actually moved across the screen, so I was happy with that. And then at this point, once again, new metal texture, and that appears, and I have two videos lined up, red taunt, blue taunt, at the same time. You can, one of them has a reverse. Actually, if you want to mirror the specific clip, so originally these two looked exactly the same. I wanted them to kind of be mirrored. If you go position, it's hard to explain, but in this timeline thing, there are 2 different modes in which you could go through. So there are various options. It's just they all can't fit on the one timeline. So if you press F4, it comes up with the transfer modes that you can alter, like After Effects. Like Sony Vegas and Photoshop. And you got this track matte, which is a bit more advanced. I'll tell you later. But if you press F4 again, you have these other values, these more check boxes, and this cube here makes this layer 3D. I'm doing quotation marks here. It's technically kind of 3D, and what you can do with this clip is that since it's 3D, you can actually change the Z-axis. And what I did was I was actually rotation. Actually, you can actually rotate it on a Z-axis, and so with this variable here, originally at 0 degrees it was like that. I just went 180 and it was turned around, so that's cool. And move forward, you got that. The C4C logo. The effect I wanted was for a 3-part thing. I wanted both heart-shaped pieces to move in. So what they were was these two pieces. It's just the original image, like that. That's the original image, and then I masked one part of the heart, so you can see this heart-shaped mask here. This other one, another mask to get both shapes, and the start of the animation, you can see here is that the position. So mainly it's about P position. They start off the screen, and then the moment he kind of does his glove and kind of does the up motion, I wanted this to be synced, so they both move in and then they meet up with each other, and there's this funky shake effect, which I probably won't explain. Andrew Kramer does it in Video Copilot. Shakes, scales back down, see the keyframes, scales back down, and then the text appears, which is the third layer here. So the opacity was 0, goes up, and then the medics disappear. Then all three of them positions go down. The metal texture disappears, and then in the end, it all disappears. So that was my intro. Just a few things. Some of the layers, I wanted it not to be so solid, so I changed the transfer mode. Talked about that in my skins tutorial. One thing when you are doing making movies with high FPS is the frame blending. So unlike Sony Vegas, it doesn't have an automatic super sampling type effect. And so what you need to do is you actually need to enable the frame blending yourself. So what you need to do is right click, go onto frame blending, and you have three options: frame mix or pixel motion. Pixel motion is more of a motion blur type effect. Or you can use an external motion blur plugin, but in regards to actual footage, actual first-person shooter footage, don't use pixel motion because that screws up your crosshair. Always use frame mix. And then you got this kind of 3-circle thing here. That's enabling motion blur. And these diagonal lines down here is frame blending. And yes, that's how I made this intro, and now that's how you render it out. So a cool thing that you could do with Adobe After Effects is that with all these layers, it's kind of hard to work with. Just imagine this massive project. If you have all these layers, you might want to compartmentalize all these layers into kind of one big layer or a composition. So what you can do, you can Control A, so select them all, and then go composition, or layer actually, and go pre-compose, and what this does is that you go C4C final, and what that does is that it blends all of those layers into just this one layer.